The top 10 Batman villains. Number 5, Clayface.
My favorite depiction of Clayface was definitely the animated series. It's just, I don't know, the backstory and everything, I was just like, that's pretty cool, you know, and I mean, it's like a curse, which I really like that aspect, when they do Clayface like that, where it's more of a curse, kind of, and you almost feel bad for him, but because he's so hideous, but you're like, man, that guy's pretty evil, though, you know, and he's going to kill Batman. He's crazy.
Clayface is my favorite villain. I have to say it's because of the animated series. I love the character. I love that story. It's so sad, but yet, you know, it's a modern day monster story. Or, you know, I like to think of that episode kind of like the Wolfman. He didn't want to be like this, but like at the end, you know, he is that monster. You know, he loses his humanity after that accident slowly, and at the end, you know, he gets away with it, but like later, other things.
Oh, Clayface, you gotta love him. And poor Batman, he must feel bad that he gets beaten up by a big piece of
Clayface is badass, man. Clayface is awesome. Gotta love Clayface, dude. Clayface is sick. I mean, just, you know, again, mostly the animated series is how I first got to know Clayface. I love that he was an actor, and you know, and then he had to use that putty stuff, and he's got a lot of abilities, man. He can do a lot of really, really cool stuff. He's a pretty cool character. Gotta love Clayface, and just full of hate and anger, and he could, you know, create anything, and at the same time he can shapeshift. But also he's got, you know, he can only hold it together for so long. So I don't know. I just think that's really cool.
I remember Clayface. What's so scary about Clayface? A bunch of kindergartners can make cigarette ashtrays out of him.
Anyways, yeah, Clayface was a cool. I loved Ron Perlman as the voice. I love Ron Perlman's voice. Every time he loans his voice to a character, he always brings that character to life, and he played that character so well. I mean, especially in the animated series, even though he was a villain, you felt so bad for him because he was just. Oh, he was so screwed over. He's great in the comics. I loved him in all the animated series that he was in. I really wish they could have got him in a movie. He would have made a very, very cool character. Knowing them, they'd have messed it all up and either put somebody in a rubber suit or had this horrible Sandman-esque CGI character that just didn't work at all. Or they'd have him even worse. They'd have him, Clayface kill.
Like, you can always do the surprise, like, oh, that character's acting weird. Oh, it's Clayface, you know. I don't know. That's really the only thing I can think of with Clayface, other than him being a shapeshifter. As far as, you know, he can do pretty much any weapon he wants to. That's like a blunt object or a knife.
I mean, there's many incarnations, but I loved him in the animated series, of course, and the ability that he can transform into anyone. That's cool. He's one of my favorite Batman super-powered villains because Batman doesn't have that many. It's like him, Killer Croc, and you know a few others, but he's always been my favorite, and he's just so cool.
I love him in the comic books when he's done right. I've seen him more recently than I ever have before. And if I had an opportunity ever to play a villain, like on the big screen, for some reason I always say Clayface because, I mean, for me, it's just, his powers are so cool. He's so dangerous. And, you know, if anybody doesn't think that Clayface is an A-list villain, you know, you're mistaken.